I met Greg Storey a few years ago in Austin at a conference, and man, we just clicked. I love this guy. I love his coaching style. I love the things he has to say about AI in the future and where we all sit as professionals. So he has this concept called lactic acid coaching, which is really telling you those things you don't want to hear and what coaching actually should be. Let's get into it. I made a rare travel to LinkedIn and saw your post, Lactic Acid Coaching. I'll make sure there's a link in the podcast post here. But man, it struck a chord. It struck a chord. And you've been doing coaching. Define what kind of coaching you do. It's like business, design, make sure people don't jump off the building.
It's mostly business and career.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say design. I don't think I've ever really. I know there's a lot of guys, that we know who do coach, quote design. I'm not sure what those conversations look like. My people come to me primarily for career advice, life advice, business advice.
Okay. Any therapy type stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. There's an element of that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what inspired that vibe, lactic acid? I mean, why'd you call it that? And then what inspired it, man?
Yeah. What inspired it was, so I'm going to say I've been out for the last 3 years. By out, I mean, I ran my course of the last job I had. I worked there for a year. I did all the things I could do, and it was time to go. And at the same time, the client services world was calling to me, and I had some opportunities. And so I just decided to go that route. In that time, with the constant now wave of layoffs and, sometimes people just like leaving, but I'd say mostly about layoffs and people just being forced out, and seeing more and more people kind of take a step back. And when they take a step forward, they announce, I'm going to go into coaching. And my friend and I, Ryan Rumsey, we started a thing called Jump Ship.
Yep.
And it was a curriculum and program to give people a way to think about their future, think about a future, what it would mean to go into business for themselves, whether that was freelance or actually start maybe a business that grew and required employees, whatever that is. But gave them mental models, gave them a picture of what it was they would do, what it would be called, what it would mean to operate that, and to do that without actually having to quit their job. Right. And so I share that because we worked with a number of people through that, and inevitably half of them would say, I'm going to go into coaching. And so even as far as back as like 2 years ago, Ryan and I started seeing a pattern of a lot of people, when they are, put in the situation they are, they're kind of, their go-to is, I'm going to offer coaching.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying like, don't, like, who am I to say you shouldn't coach? It's not so much that. It's more of like, read the LinkedIn. If everybody's going into coaching, right? Yeah. You're all jumping into a very, very deep red ocean.
We should coach the coaches, Greg.
Yeah. And so, but here's where the lactic acid part came in. Is wasn't so much people were announcing that they're going to go into coaching. I should also add too that I was an early kind of supporter and helper of the adaptive people. What is it? The ADP list.
Oh, right.
Amazing design people list. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so I met those guys when they had just started working on their Webflow version of their website. Prior to that, it was a spreadsheet, right? And so I know those guys for a very long time. And so I also saw the movement there of, people, especially designers, coming out of the woodwork of becoming a mentor. Fantastic stuff. But I saw too another pattern of those folks saying like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm going to start getting paid for it, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, and this is the part that I was kind of reacting to, they're all selling the same thing, right? So it's all the same thing. It's all the same packages.
Right.
And actually, if you look at it across the board and look at what they're offering and even kind of where their head is at, the other kind of part of it that I was responding to is they're coaching yesterday. And what I've been trying to say in the most direct, try to be polite way is yesterday is gone.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make that clear without looking like a lunatic of right. Cause it's like, well, what do you mean? And especially in like fields like design,
Right.
because this is what I also see on LinkedIn is, people are still talking about what did we get wrong? What happened? Here's what happened to design. Here's why something design. Here's how something design, right? And I'm sure that this is happening in other fields like, content strategy, marketing,
Right.
like name it. But I see design. And so I see a lot of people who are still stuck in, we're just going to wait this out. And then the world's going to kind of come back. Right. We'll all be a little bit older, but we'll find a way to get back in and finally deliver on name the promise, the value proposition here. And then I also still see a lot of people who are still, fight for this. This
Right.
is really important.
Yeah.
And what I see, and what I recognize is maybe a lot of, maybe I'm alone, but I see that the world has moved. When I say world, I mean business has moved on. And even if they haven't completely transformed, because that's going to take a while, right? They're clearly looking at the disruption or disruptions are here. We have to, this is why I tell people we have to get to kind of our minimum viable human status quo on today or yesterday, really is what it is. How can we do what we did yesterday with the fewest amount of humans possible?
Mm-hmm.
So that once we get to that number, we have hopefully by that time, we'll have a better look of what's going to happen in the world tomorrow. And then we can restructure from there. But when they restructure, will they hire back some of these people in same functions? Yeah, inevitably. But there's also evidence, if you look at the people that are left behind, they're being tasked with doing so much more and being responsible for more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that changing. I see that just simply being find your automation or your augmentation to give yourself more time to breathe. But we're not going to give you humans to do it.
Isn't that kind of how it's always worked, though? Feels like it.
Well, I mean, when I spent time in the enterprise, when money was cheap, and I should say startups. So if I take a look at my time at IBM, they spent, I don't know, $1 billion or $500 million on IBM design.
Yeah.
USAA, I have no idea how many, like scores, multiple millions of dollars to build up the design program there.
Mm-hmm.
InVision was just, let's spend $350 million as soon as we can. And just, so while the money was kind of cheap,
Right.
It used to be hire good people. We'll figure out what we're going to use them for later. Right. It used to, I've actually been researching this for another upcoming article of the play was, hey, look at me. I'm a CEO. Look at the talent that I've recruited. This guy, I brought that in.
Okay.
Look at my bench. I got the, AAA players here. That shifted now where there is a growing mindset from the leadership class that if you have to hire humans, you have to hire more people, something's wrong. Right? You're not optimizing, you're not efficient, you're not transforming, whatever it is. And I can't tell you where it comes from. And honestly, I don't know that I really care, but this is, so has it always been that companies optimize and, try to, not hire until they have to? I'd say for a lot of traditional companies, yeah. But for anybody who is taking on money or trying to do something with technology or technology adjacent programs to quote transform,
Mhm.
to lead to innovation, they were spending money left and right. And that means they were collecting people, collecting names, collecting
I always, because I have spent 25 years in this industry. I've never once worked for, like, legitimately worked for a startup or
mhm.
been in that world. I've always been a service-based, you know, do things for people that need it, one-off sort of business. I always wondered what all those people did at those companies.
Well, so
Like,
at
what do you
at
do with
InVision,
100 designers at Envision?
yeah, I mean, I could tell you, having been there firsthand, some of the divisions got it and created the culture, and the relationships, the partnerships where design in particular actually was just a cog in a well-oiled machine,
Mm,
just clicking. And I had a couple of those teams at USAA, and the amount of work that they could do and good work was insane. And I had
well,
other
sure.
teams were the exact opposite. They didn't know what to do with
Mm,
design. They didn't understand design, even though you sit them down almost to the point of like, we're going to go through the coloring book today.
yeah.
What kind of crayon do you want to color with? Right. Like really holding hands. And it was just kind of more of like, this is new. We don't need it. We never
Mhm.
needed it. We're not going to use it. So if I don't use you, you're going to go away. Right. So I've seen that too.
Hmm.
But when like at startups, so at Envision, I was hired to stand up a design team to build enterprise distinct features in the Envision platform.
Okay.
And I won't bore you with what that means, but I was hired mid December, actually signed documents and passed all of that along and established my start date like on January 7th. On the day before Christmas Eve, I got a call from my future boss, and he said, "Hey, just want to let you know that we got out of our last strategic planning session for the next year," which that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve,
Yeesh.
um, and we've decided to move all of your headcount to a different team. Not sure what you're going to do yet, but you don't worry. We're gonna find something for you to do.
Yeah.
Just thought you should know. I still have no idea why he told me this. Unless it was like maybe like a now that I think about this, talking about it, maybe it was hopefully you'll quit,
Mhm.
right, or something. But
Yeah, probably.
um, we'll see you next year. I started. They cobbled two, maybe three designers that were kind of on these really small teams that didn't warrant a leader, a director. Um, and after 6 weeks, as things started tanking in Envision, it was pretty clear like things in the product department, they didn't need more design leaders, they needed more engineers. And so I actually got shuffled to another team on design transformation, which is what I was doing at IBM. So that was a good fit, but still I had no work.
Right.
Like they didn't say thank God you're here, or just even like welcome, here's take half of Bob's
Yeah.
workload because he's underwater or something. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like it was keeping me. It reminded me of music labels when they would go and hire kind of bands that sounded similar to their number one
Right.
band,
Right.
sign a multi record deal,
Yeah.
record the records, and then shelve them.
Right.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And so
That's gross.
um, moving forward though, uh, those I think those days are gone, and I don't say for good. I think it'll happen again, just like when
It always
.com happened.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It'll happen again, but when it happens again, it's not going to tie it back to this coaching and like where things are going. It's not going to be yesterday, and
Yeah.
especially when so much is in transformation, or I shouldn't say change. We're not even really transforming yet. We're we're just still dog paddling in all
Mhm.
this shit, right? And so when we're dog paddling, it's, look for land ahead of you. It's almost kind of like, to keep using this bad metaphor or analogy. It's if we're swimming between islands and we're more than halfway to the island in front of us and deciding, hey, no, I kind of remember that island back there. I knew how to do things
Yeah.
there. I knew where the crab,
Right.
I'm going to swim back, right?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like, for coaching, this is where the lactic acid part comes in, because I look at, what am I saying different than what these other folks are offering and what they're proposing? And I think that the first lesson is, you got to forget what you knew. And what I mean by that is, I should say, forget your expectations. Forget the mission that you were on. The
Yeah.
missions moving forward are new, they're different, and nobody cares what you did yesterday. Like, that's always been true, but I feel like that more than ever. Who cares what you did yesterday? What can you do for me today to help figure out all of what is happening and how we can move forward? It doesn't have to be a Hail Mary. It doesn't have to be a
Right.
moonshot. How can we gain inches, right? Without threatening the company's future.
And that's what you propose to be
That to me is
coaching
because
someone on.
in lactic acid. Now you can look at,
Legit.
I'm not at an Olympic athlete, right? But I do know that,
Yes, it hurt. It
when it
burns.
hurts, part of when it hurts is it's the lactic acid buildup. You're being
Yeah.
reminded
Yeah.
that you are using parts of your body that haven't been used in a very, very long time. And I think what we all need, and I put myself in that too, I'm trying to kind of self-coach myself here, is we need to figure out the movements, the direction, the work where it hurts,
I dig it.
right? We need to find, coaches should be helping their clients, their customers, their friends, like whatever, finding where that lactic acid is.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to be coaching.
I find that most of the, like we're talking about, most of the things we read and see, they are simply mentors,
Yep.
like it's a mentor relationship. It's not a coaching relationship.
Yep.
And I think, what do you think that is? I mean, do you think it's that people don't really know what it means to be coached?
I think there's that, but I also think too that, in my experience, when you provide more of a coaching experience,
They don't want it.
and when people feel the lactic acid,
They leave. Yeah.
they don't want it. I could think of a guy who was a good friend of mine, ran a successful business, and we worked together for years, and I learned pretty quickly that there's just a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, there were areas of the business that just were not
Yeah.
for consideration, and
You're like,
that didn't mean I didn't stop. It just meant that some days were leg days and other days were
yeah.
aerobics, right?
Yeah. Well,
But
I can tell you firsthand in the uh, gym, in coaching people that way,
yeah,
if you play more of the mentor role, they will like your clients will leave. Like, they have to see results. Like, we're talking about like actually delivering results for someone who's paying you to coach. You have to push them in the direction they want to go in, and they do not want to go in that direction.
yeah.
They don't want to feel, you're using lactic acid as a metaphor. They don't want to feel that.
But no, they don't. But the smart ones were like, okay, this sucks. This is
Yeah.
I'm paying for sins, right?
Yep. Yep.
But I guess the smart ones will know that this is this is the first step. This is actually how I know I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah. Do you not to get personal or anything, but do you do any kind of therapy yourself? You go to
I
a
have in the
therapist? Have in the
past,
past?
but I also I'll tell you, I stopped because the person I was meeting with, I felt like I had to remind them of who I was and what we were talking about the last time, right?
Yeah,
It
you
was
gotta be
kind of like,
careful. Yeah, not all
last
good.
time on Greg's story, you know.
That's like
So
coaches. It's not they're not all good. We're not all good.
no, so what do you ask?
Oh, just because it's like it seems like I mean, a lot of the stuff you're talking about, it seems like to really put like to push someone or to get them to do the things they want to do, but they've got to confront whatever that mental issue, like roadblock or whatever that thing is holding them back. They've got to confront it, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
And a lot of times in my experience with therapy, it's like, well, just through conversation, I wind up exposing and confronting those things on my own. Like the therapist rarely like, it's not like we're going to do an exercise to look at all the things you suck at. It's never like an extra. It's like you're going through the motions of discussing things, and you're like, oh, that sounds really stupid. Why did I do that?
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah, stop doing that. And you're like, oh
Well,
shit.
but I think on the other side of that, how many friends do you have? Because I know I have them who have been going to a therapist for years
Oh yeah,
about the same stuff.
yeah, and they don't
Like,
ever fix it. Yep.
there's a guy on YouTube I watch, uh, who does a show, and he lost a loved one like 20 years ago.
Mm.
And annually, they put on a show which has nothing to do with what their content is about, but it's kind of in remembrance of this person and what they meant to them, brought to life, and how
Yeah.
their death impacted them. And there's a part of me that kind of gets it, and there's a part of me as like a coach.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you need to move on.
Yeah.
Like, all you're showing me is that you haven't really confronted this, and even the lifestyle changes that they are known to have made. It's like you've withdrawn,
Yeah.
and you found comfort there, and that's what you've made your life. But it's like, to me anyway, it's incredibly unhealthy. Like, good for you, you do all those other wonderful things. At the same time, you haven't faced this. And I only push because I've been there
Mhm.
myself, right?
Oh yeah.
And you've probably seen this too, of like, going back to like the gym metaphor, is if you push through it and you stick with it, the person you become on the other end is powerful, is
Yeah.
confident,
Yeah.
um, knows how to deal with stupid shit like imposter syndrome,
I wanted to bring
right?
that up. Good segue. You're good at
Yeah.
this.
So it's like, and just because if anybody's listening to this and they're like, well, this guy's a jerk.
Yeah.
Oops, I
It-
turned my computer off. There we go. This guy's a jerk. But no, it's I've seen it. And when you
Mhm.
see it, and this is where I go back to coaching, I feel like a lot of people are doing that because they haven't really pushed people to become somebody that they didn't think they could become.
Yeah.
And I have done that a number of times in the last 25 years. I have hired people, not because of who they were, what they could do that day, but because I knew what they could become if they just would work with me, and they did it. Right.
So rad.
And when you do that, you're changing. That's life changing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's beautiful.
I've never seen it changing someone's life to make it worse. Right. And yeah, they're not the same person, but it's for a good thing. Right.
Mhm. Mhm. And
That's
it's
why we
beautiful.
need, this type of coaching. This is why we need to stop with the BS, the same old, the mentorship, the buddy, here's what I did type of thing.
Yeah.
No, it's like, push people to become better versions of themselves, unlock the people that are inside. That's what coaching
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That's what the world needs more than anything right now.
It's like yeah, for sure, man. Well, what about imposter syndrome? I mean, that was that this article that I reached out to you over. It's specifically what it's about. Like those, that's like you said something like that's where you would start with most people.
Yeah.
Um, what is imposter syndrome to you?
Fear that you're going to be, imposter syndrome is fear that you don't know enough and you don't have some type of pedigree to back that up in the absence of you being kick ass, right? It's the fear of, name it, like speaking in public and someone standing up and saying, you don't
Mhm.
know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah,
Or being in a meeting and being called upon and providing an answer and someone saying, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, right?
yeah,
It's being found out, being seen,
yeah.
discovered as a fraud.
That's legit. That's a ongoing fear for most people.
Everybody.
Yeah, we all
And
have
and
it.
I say everybody because it literally is everybody. It's just that some
Mhm.
people have the tools and the training to deal with it in the moment, right? Um, there's a lot of people that don't. Uh, do you watch the show Hacks? Have you seen that show?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going through season 4 right now. There's
Okay.
there's a scene between the main actress, can't remember her name, and Carol Burnett. There and she talks about imposter syndrome, right? Or no, I have the wrong scene. It's in that episode. Sorry, it's the manager. It's the main character's manager talking about imposter syndrome to a new client, and the new client is like, I don't know, this is LA. So scary. All the kind of excuses that you make when you've got imposter syndrome. And
Mhm.
the manager says everybody in LA has imposter syndrome. It's just that some of them are better equipped to deal with it than others. And I thought that was so crazy because that was just last night. Sorry for getting the scene wrong. But I thought, man, it really is. This
That's
is
it.
universal. I mean, I've
That's
always
it.
believed that, but to have that show bring it up in the story dialogue
It's interesting. Yeah.
just to me validates it's not an industry thing. It's a human thing. When I should say, we all have it, but the people that experience it are the ones who are stepping forward, right? Who are kind of taking a risk
Mhm.
and putting themselves out there.
Mhm.
And I hate it. I hate it because I went through it. I grew up
Mhm.
in a small town in Alaska,
Mhm.
small town of 6,000 people. I may as well been in a town of 200 in the middle of Nebraska,
Right.
right? Where in those instances, somebody who lives 20 miles down the road in a bigger town naturally knows more than you do just because of proximity to people, population density, or
Yeah.
their job or their title or something.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I don't know about you, but I have dealt with, you name the job title, I have had to deal with that person or interact with those people. And I can tell you that titles don't mean jack.
They don't.
Roles don't mean jack.
Nope.
Clothing, cars, none of that means you know what the hell you're doing or that you are intelligent.
Mm-mm.
Holy cow, I've met some pretty stupid people getting paid a lot of money.
Me
Um,
too. Yeah, it's usually ridiculous.
yeah, but then you get people who really try, and put themselves out there and change themselves, like
Yeah.
change something about their life, their work, or both. They're putting them out there for themselves, and they're afraid of these morons are going to stand up when those people are afraid to speak up because they don't know much,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
so I really, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And it's a part of life. It's like trying to, hate something from nature. It's like, it's
It's
part
there.
of what we do. But what I'm trying to do with my writing, well, what I've always done with my coaching, my leadership, mentorship is, um, call it out, name it, call it out, and show people this isn't scary.
Yeah. This is
And
what it is.
it's what it is. And more importantly, here's how to deal with it, right? Instead of being afraid of, well, what if, take the next step and actually say, well, okay, what if? What are the what ifs? Someone calls bullshit. Okay. Then what, this is where the therapy part comes in, right? It's
Yeah.
like, well, then what do you say next? And then what now? And
Yeah.
what's the next, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
like take it to the
Yeah.
next. And then, because to me, that's, taking that page from therapy. I think that's the where some of the power comes in, is when they get you to look at something you're fearful of and walk you through it to a conclusion where now you can actually see, hey, that's actually not so bad, right? And coming back to imposter syndrome is, so what if somebody actually calls or questions, calls you out or questions the work you've done? Let's go through the 5 different ways that could go, right? It's
Yeah.
not so much about being called out. It's more of like being prepared, right? And if you're prepared, even if it, like I'm putting together a pitch deck right now. One of the things I've done with the pitch deck is I've taken that and then, given it to the robot and said, help me think of objections and questions that the target audience may have about this.
Mm.
And it's not to try to like get the right response or the perfect answer. It's more of, improv,
Yeah.
of kind of have an idea of what to expect, so that when it comes at you, it's like, from what I've heard of being punched in the face or having a fist flying at your face is, if you're used to it through training, through boxing, you don't flinch,
That's right.
right? You know how to kind of react.
That's right.
It's the same thing with imposter syndrome, right? We need to be training for how to take punches to our face.
Pretty
So
much.
when they do come, it doesn't mean the punch isn't going to land, but it doesn't mean that we know, okay, get back up and
Yeah.
get ready for the next, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the
And,
worst case scenario.
yeah, you should know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
That's lactic acid.
It is 100%. Man, I love this. I love this way of thinking about it. I find that my 2 experiences of engaging with a coach, not like in business. They've been like performative coaching.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like, what are we doing here? It didn't last long. And in retrospect, I've always thought like, man, am I just arrogant? Did I leave those meetings thinking like, well, they don't have anything to teach me? Like, what the hell are we doing here? But what I'm getting at is that what I feel like you're getting at is one, like we connected over web design and those discussions. We're both getting older. We go back a long ways in what we do. So I one leg is in that world. Another leg is in this world of martial arts and training and things. And one of the things there is we always talk about trusting our intuition, right? Trusting our gut and listening to it, and then actually taking action on it. So like this concept of lactic acid, like if you're feeling that stuff, like you're looking at making a career move or your investment or whatever, and you're feeling that, that's probably something to pay attention to in terms of I'm probably doing the right thing.
Yeah. And I'd add to that there's another visceral reaction, right? Which is fight or flight.
Absolutely.
It's a different physical reaction, right? Your heart starts beating, you start sweating, and that's a different. So it's like when you listen to your gut, I think it's like to take a step back for a minute, and it's like, does this feel like leg day, or does this feel like
Yeah.
someone's coming after me,
Yep.
right? Like
Yep.
Jason Bourne type of stuff, like, because you can. There may be other situations, but I mean, to me, that's listen to your gut. If it feels like fight or flight, go. But if it's simply because somebody's calling you out, right?
Right.
To me, it's like, no,
Yeah, man.
that's lactic acid. No,
Yeah.
that should be. You should be
Yeah.
recognizing that for what it is.
Right.
And I'd further add, if you're not prepared, take the hit. Right? To me, it's like if you're not prepared and someone just called you out, lean into that punch.
Yeah.
And learn from it.
I love that.
Right? Every
Dude.
mistake becomes an opportunity to go make a correction.
Dude, yeah, we were talking about kind of dabbing our toes in the political world a minute ago, but like it just seems like so many people, and it's not just politics. I find I'm running into it with clients and things like that. They cannot admit like the fact that they made a mistake.
Well,
Like they
yeah,
can't take
because
accountability. People just don't seem to be able to take accountability. I
yeah,
see it
and
in business. I see
unfortunately,
it.
I don't think that that's gonna. I think that's a harder thing because I have come to learn. I should take a step back. One of the first lessons I learned in life is when you do take accountability, when you do admit fault, it doesn't mean you're ruined. It doesn't mean you're over,
Right.
right? I should say it doesn't have to be. If you do that and then run away,
Well, yeah, then you're
I can't help you.
yeah,
That's a different. You got some
yeah,
other issues going on,
yeah.
but um, I have learned that there's opportunity. Not only is it the right thing to do, there's opportunity in that, right? There is, for starters, developing your own humility is very powerful, right? Like incredibly powerful to
Yeah.
be able to be a humble person and to admit fault without turning it into drama. But more
Oh, that's gonna
importantly,
take
is
work.
when you
Yeah.
do that, I have learned you start to develop a trust that cannot be seeded any different way. And that trust, we talk about trust a lot in business.
Mhm.
And like everything in English, we have one word for what there are many meanings, right? And just like I've been working on I have a friend who said they were feeling lonely, so I started doing some research into what does that mean,
Mhm.
and finding that loneliness it's a single word, but there are like 8 stages of loneliness.
Hmm.
It's like I tell people it's like the word snowflake or snow. Like in English, we have one word. In Alaska Natives have 26 different words for snow. So go back to like trust.
Right.
There's different forms. There's different kinds of trust, and when you can admit fault with humility, not angrily, but mid fault, like I made a mistake. Here's what I've learned from it. I'm ready to work through this and I'm going to take a hit. But I have never been in that situation where when I did that, even when I didn't make the direct mistake, but I was tangentially related to it and I got called out for it as if I had made the mistake. And I remember this very distinctly as I said, you know what? I didn't do this, but I'm sorry. I could have done more. In hindsight, I could have done more. I will take the fault. I will take the blame for this. I will fix this. Here's what I need: your help, your support for this. That person, this is the president of the organization. I had a very, very different relationship with that person from that day forward.
Mhm.
We weren't, he was never angry, but over time, he saw that that wasn't just a one and done, that that's just who I am. And
Yeah.
my career accelerated big time within months because of that.
Hell yeah, it would. He
Yeah.
knows you got his back, man.
Yeah.
That's it. We
Yeah.
we had a not recent, but we had it was a big ass client. We built a big old website. We're talking, 50 grand or so, big project. And we built it on the wrong platform.
Mm.
Like it just, everything on paper looked, yeah, this is it. Cool, let's do it. And then in practice, like it just wasn't, they needed to move faster and iterate faster. And this platform we chose it was just moved slower through, developers. It just went slower. And they were not happy. And we worked together for a long time and they were not comfortable telling us they were not happy, but I knew they were not happy. Right. Does that make sense?
Classic.
And so and it wasn't working and it was costing me a lot of money. And so I just went into a meeting one day and I said, listen, I should have known. I've been working with you a long time. I made a strategic mistake. We're going to rebuild this thing on our dime. It cost me money. And they were like, holy shit. And it wasn't drama. It wasn't an issue yet, but I knew it would be.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we rebuilt it. And recently, we talked a little bit about politics, but the government has made huge slashes
Really? I
to
have not read a
grants
thing
and
about
things.
this.
Yeah, so they lost a bunch of funding, but they went in and they fought for us, and they fought for our contract to be continued and stuff, because I think 100% because of that move.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm just sort of bolstering your point of like, I mean, I've made a lot of other bad decisions. It's not like I always make great decisions, but that one was a good one. That was a win, sort of similar to one you're talking about, where I think doing the right thing and just accepting when you actually cause an issue. It's like you how do you lose? I mean, they get pissed
Well,
off and fire you, but you sleep better at night. Like,
I think it's well, kind of taking this back to coaching. I think it's that's it's a moment to recognize that you did the right thing. There are there negative consequences potentially? Yeah, sure.
yeah.
There's a really good book out there called "This Might Get Me Fired," and it's essentially a book about using like a design sprint methodology
Mm,
to be able to innovate in old stodgy industries. What I love about the book, this is what made me fall in love with the book, is there's a chapter on outcomes.
mm.
And I want to say there are like 11 outcomes. Maybe there's 7. Anyway, but there's a few where one of the outcomes is you're going to get fired.
I mean, it's always possible.
Well, and part of it is, and what it was interesting to me is it wasn't just one scenario where you got let go. And there was others that you got demoted. It was all about you just showed up some very powerful people.
Yeah.
They don't want that in the organization.
Right.
They want comfort, right? So they're gonna get you out of there, right? And I always love that because it is like they're doing the right thing. And I've seen it. Could mean your exit, your demise.
Could be.
And you say sleep better. I just think you become I mean, obviously there's more tangentially there's more there than just sleeping better. There's just
Yeah.
I think when you do that, that also unlocks another power of just being a better human, right?
I think so too. Isn't it funny how the more time you put in your career, I don't want to say the better you get at it, because we both know people that's worked for 40 years and they still kind of suck. Or there's people that's worked for 40 years and they're really awesome at it. But isn't it funny how much time and experience you have in your career, the more simple things seem to become?
Well, because you've seen
We overcomplicate shit
with
early on.
the benefit of age and experience is that you see all the patterns,
Yeah.
right? When we're younger, we look at everything as like, oh, this is happening for the very first time in
Right.
in human history or my
Yeah.
history, right? And we don't recognize. I was at I was hanging out at a bar, waiting to eat, and I ran into these 2 people, and cannot remember the scenarios per se. One was the CEO of a hospital, weirdly enough.
Mm.
The other was working in nonprofit, and we were talking about problems at work, and they described 2 very different scenarios. But I said to them, it's like, you both have the same problem, right? This is like mechanically speaking, you have the
Yeah.
same problem. You're using different language because you come from different cultures, your different positions, different, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you have the same problem. And I told them what it is. And they were kind of like, wait, what? Who are you? And I thought about this. It's like, I can say that because I've seen the patterns. I've worked in enough places at enough scale with enough clients, with enough everything to recognize, oh yeah, this is, this is a good old 29B pattern.
Yeah.
I've seen this here, and here.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the world gets simpler. Just because you see not in time even,
Yeah.
what's been really interesting to me, you talk about like politics and kind of like all the things that are going on. One of the things that I use AI for is to study history or to look back and say, this in this particular event, when has something like this, or this kind of correlation of data points, has this happened in history before? When did it, and what was it? Right. And to go look at, and this is why I find some reassurance in, yeah, you're not on your territory.
Yeah.
This happened here and here and
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And then you can dig into what happened, what were the outcomes, what did recovery look like, what was the thing that instigated change,
Yeah.
what happened to them, like to be able to look at that, to
Yeah.
again, it's all what I find fascinating about AI is being able to just describe the situation and say, where else in all of human knowledge do you see this as a pattern?
That's pretty cool. I haven't thought about using it that way.
Yeah.
I'm usually like, solve my thing.
Yeah. So this is why, like I wrote the book, and it occurred to me when I was speaking to a group of people about AI, and I recognized that we don't really have a really good definition of what this technology is. We use acronyms
Right.
and all of the commercials and whatnot, kind of socialize what AI can do, make my email better,
Yeah.
write a blog post,
Right.
solve this problem for me. But I don't think we forget what it also is, which is a concierge, albeit
Yeah.
most times a really shitty concierge,
It can be.
sitting on top of the combined collection of human intelligence,
Yeah.
human history, human knowledge, and not just anecdotal,
Right.
science,
Oh yeah. You could do deep research.
research,
Yeah.
like name it, anything a human has said, thought, done, made, feel, uh, it knows, right? And
Yeah. It's creepy.
I mean, I look at it as what did I asked one of the AIs, like, give me summate this for me. Give me a visual picture. And it said that the knowledge contained is like 1,000 Library of Alexandrias,
Wow.
right? Vast, deep, so vast and deep. It's hard to wrap your brain around it
Yeah.
because
You can't comprehend.
no, because of our education, right? Of our awareness. But
There's no way.
anyway, but now you have a tool for going back and looking at patterns, finding patterns. And
Solid.
it's, again, it's the patterns that make life simple. It's the patterns that allow, I think, older, more experienced people to deal with their imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
to even know kind of what to expect, or just in the moment of how to respond, how to take a hit, how to avoid a hit. These are the things I feel like a lot of people right now need help with, because again, there's for a lot of us, there's just no solid ground.
There's not, and you're invoking AI there. But I think AI is the culprit in putting a lot of imposter syndrome in people. I mean, there's people are just scared of it. Like, oh, it's going to replace me or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. There's that component
Like,
too.
oh, what am I going to do when AI comes for my job?
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yeah. Work with AI. I don't know,
You'll be all right.
about 8 hours, and tell me you think that's really going to replace you. Right.
I'm the guy. If you're ever on Instagram and there's like one of the, Zuck or whatever is hyping AI, or Bill Gates his posts are famous where it's like, we'll have no human coders in the next 3 years. I'm always the guy that's like, surprise, AI guy hypes AI. Like,
well, but also now, okay, so to that point, go to AI and say, here's what Bill Gates said.
Yeah.
Tell me other times Bill Gates just pulled something out of his butt.
Yeah, I know.
And that was true.
Yeah.
Right. Like his buddy Ballmer saying, no one's going to buy $1,000 phone. Like, let's look at
We all bought them. Yeah.
Essentially like the batting average for all these people making these statements. Right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've kept you a long time. So where do we go from here, man? Like you wrote the article, you're doing way more coaching than I am in terms of professionals, but where do you go? Where do we go? How do we make it better?
I mean, lean in, learn, right? Test, We talk about AI. Use AI as a way to help you think about like where you are, what's
Yeah.
going on, how you what could happen, so that, and then okay, if that happens, uh, where do I go from there? Instead of asking these tools solve the problem for me, um, give it this is the problem I'm working on. Here's my concern, worry, fear, perspective. Ask me 10 questions. Go through
I
those
love
10
that.
questions. Like, just that's it. Ask me 10 questions. You want your therapy? That's what therapists do.
Yep.
Why? And I think after when you go through some of those exercises, and in particular this like imposter syndrome, but honestly anything, if you don't gain confidence from that, start all over again. Something's wrong with the conversation starter.
Yeah. I
And
love
read
it.
my book, Creative
Yeah.
Intelligence. Don't
Yeah.
ask AI, think with it.
Okay.
Um,
When's
that
it
book,
coming out?
the focus is on using AI as a collaborative partner to supercharge, essentially, enhance your knowledge, right? Which leads to making better decisions, which then helps you develop intelligence,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah.
It's all has nothing to do with the tools. I don't even get into tools. I don't think I talk about tools at all. It's more of how do you use this amazing collection of knowledge, with this insane computing power. Um, whatever you think about it, that's what it is. And I wrote it because I saw a lot of people that are just simply using it to fix the thing that they think is in front of them, which is, as we know, being elder statesmen now,
Mm-hmm.
you're 5 steps behind the real
Mm-hmm.
problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the book, it's a short book. It's under 200 pages. It tested through the roof. The
I
tools that
bet.
are in there. And honestly, I think like everything that we just talked about, if you can use the frameworks, the processes, the techniques that are in there to figure out a lot of your own problems, and imposter syndrome is one of them.
That's legit, man.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you for your hour today. Holy moly. I could talk to you all day. So again, when's the book coming out?
It's out. So go to
What's up?
brilliantcrank.com. You'll see a link for it, Creative Intelligence. You can download it and read a chapter for free, like the core kind of
Sweet.
chapter on thinking. Like I said, it really is a book about thinking. But it's out now. Go buy it. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. I will get a copy myself. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Man, we'll do this again. Thank you.
Good to see you, Gene.